some thoughts on 1 Samuel and chapter 24. This chapter involves a meeting between David and Saul. A meeting between the coming king, the anointed king, the expected king, and the finished king, the failure king. And so let's see what happens. Saul has been seeking to finish off David. He has this vengeance in his heart, and the Lord is overruled to prevent it at the end of verse of chapter 23. In chapter 24, David is found with Saul in his hands, really, as Saul has gone into this cave. David is in this cave, and he could have finished him off. In fact, his men were saying to him, why haven't you done it? Verse 4, it says of chapter 24, and the men of David said to him, here is the day of which the Lord said to you, behold, I will give your enemy into your hand, and you shall do to him as it shall seem good to you. And so David cuts off a corner of Saul's robe. But even this smites David's conscience. He is convinced that he should not do anything against the Lord's anointed. Saul may well be the failing king. He may well be the king who is set for being deposed. However, David knows that. However, David will not take action against the anointed king. He will respect the one who has the position of authority, even though that person who is in that position of authority, by their characters, would not be worthy of respect. Think of the hostility that Saul has so far shown to David. We would have seen that he would be well in his rights to have done something hard to Saul. But here we see David, he's a godly man. You see, the respect for authority is a key declarer of our godliness. So let's see them meet, the two of them. And they actually meet each other. And as we come into verse 8, we see afterward David also arose and went out to the cave and called after Saul, my lord the king. And when Saul looked behind him, David bowed with his face to the earth and paid homage. Here is David, full of respect for the one who is the king. He can't understand why Saul was so harmful, wants such harm for him in verse 9. And he wants Saul to be aware that, he could have taken him. He could have deposed of him. His heart is not for inflicting harm upon Saul. Verse 11, see my father, see the corner of your robe in my hand, for by the fact that I cut off the corner of your robe and did not kill you, you may know and see that there is no wrong or treason in my hands. I have not sinned against you, though you hunt my life to take it. And so he's looking to the Lord in all this. It's one of the key things you see with David. He's a man who looks to the Lord. He has connection with the Lord. He looks to the Lord to work, but he says, my hand shall not be against you at the end of verse 12. You see, there is this whole theme in this passage that David is seeking to be the one who takes the humble place, seeks to acknowledge God, not to force his rights, not to say it must be my way. Here is the beautiful character of a godly man. Verse 15, may the Lord therefore be judge and give sentence between me and you, and see to it and plead my cause and deliver me from your hand. He was looking to the Lord here, and that is always the best thing to be doing. So I just want to encourage us to be thoughtful about our attitude to those who are hostile to us, those who are causing us difficulty. And we think, how can we survive this? Well, we must be aware of God, that we would not sin against the Lord. and do something wrong, even though we say, I have every right to do this. They've done such things against me. David is an example to us. No, keep living godly, keep loving, and keep doing what is the right thing. The latter part of the chapter, verses 16 through to 22. We have some, contrition from Saul. He's even including the Lord in the statements that he makes. Verse 18, for example, he says, "And you have declared this day how you have dealt well with me, and that you did not kill me when the Lord put me in your hands." Here is some, we might say, warm response. Often it can be like that with dealing with people who seem relentlessly hostile to you. They can have these warmer times. Why it takes place sometimes you're not fully aware. Why Saul had this relenting for this period, we do not know. But there is this time here, a sweetened, a lightened time for David, but it would pass, and Saul would soon be on the rampage again, seeking to get rid of David. So let us seek to be godly amidst difficulty and amidst people causing us trouble. That's some thoughts then on 1 Samuel and chapter 24. Thank you.